Yo, welcome to Team SNG. Today we are going to be doing the updated Fallen of Albaz test hands. Now, this deck was featured on the channel earlier this week and it is linked in the description below, so go check it out. While you got attention, I'd like to ask you guys, leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a subscribe. This is a going second deck, so we're going to draw 6 cards and see if, well, we have the OTK. The OTK is quite simple. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do 5 test hands today, seeing as they will be quite quick and short. The idea is just behind us getting the OTK out on the board and showing you guys how consistently this deck can do that. That all being said, let's get into it. Okay, sorry if that shuffle was a bit painful to watch. New sleeves and all. Still working out how to shuffle them properly. So, here we go. First test hand. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. That right there, that's half the OTK. Screams of the Branded. Alright. Fallen of Albaz. Boom. We have the OTK right there already. Branded in white. That's fine. And Thunder Strike the Kaiju. The Lightning Strike Kaiju. Or Thunder King, sorry. The Lightning Strike Kaiju. There you go. That's not a problem. Oh, right. We're going to go second. So what card are we going to draw into? Allure of Darkness. Don't need it. We have the OTK already in hand. But Allure of Darkness is a really useful card in this deck. Just because seeing Fallen of Albaz is paramount to making this deck function. So the way this OTK works. Our opponent's probably set up a board with a couple monsters at this point. We could Lightning Strike their monster that might negate our spell, so that's an option we have available to us, but seeing as I don't know what our opponent's got for us, we're just going to show you how the OTK works. All you need for the OTK is Fallen of Albaz and Interrupted Kaiju Slumber and any card to pitch off, and we have 4 of them. So we're going to activate our Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. We're going to give our opponents the Thunder King, the Lightning Strike Kaiju. And we're going to give ourselves Jizukiru. And I'm going to put Thunder King here, just to represent it being on my opponent's field. At this point, what we'll do is we will normal summon our Fallen of Albaz, and activate his effect, sending Screams of the Branded to the grave. And Thunder King, the Lightning Strike Kaiju as well. And this will let us fusion summon into the new fusion, Albion the Branded Dragon. Albion's effect will go off when it's been summoned, letting us fusion summon by using materials in our grave. So we're going to banish off our Thunder King from our grave, and we're going to banish off Fallen of Albaz. This will then let us fusion summon either another Albion, a Titaniclad, a Brygrand, or an Iron Dash. All of these are available to us because Thunder King the Lightning Strike Kaiju qualifies as material for all of these, seeing as he was special summoned this turn. He is level 8 or higher, his attack is over 2500, and he is light. All of these will work. I'm typically going to go for Titaniclad, just for that little bit of bragging rights, if nothing else. Because now Titaniclad is going to sit at a whopping 3800 attack. As you can see on board, that means that we have 2500 plus 3300, which is 58. And then we have over 3000 with our Titaniclad, putting our opponent at 0 life points. So there it is, guys. Right there is the OTK. I'm glad I got to show it to you early. And that's basically how it works. Alright, so on to our second test stand. Danger Nessie. Okay, not really what we want. Branded in white. Could be alright. Fallen of Albaz. Okay, that's good. Good. We're starting to redeem ourselves a bit. Fusion deployment. Okay, we don't need two Fallen of Albaz, so it's a bit of a shame, but it could be useful having it for later. And another branded in white. So our opening hand doesn't help us. And our 6 card really doesn't help us that much either. We are okay though, because we could use Danger Nessie to try and see something else on our opening turn. So Danger Nessie is actually safe for us to use right away, because we do have 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz, meaning that we can easily get him back. So we'll do that. We'll reveal Nessie. And we'll go 1 to 6. Okay, so that's a 1. That is branded in white, off to the grave. And Danger Nessie summoned to the field. Nessie will then let us draw a card. Good, so we have a Kaiju. That's perfect for us. It's actually even better because it's a light Kaiju. So what we'll do is we will give our opponent the Kaiju. We will normal summon our Fallen of Albaz, and we will send Screams of the Branded off. That will then let us use Fallen of Albaz and our Kaiju to go into Albion. Then we can use Albion's effect to banish off our Kaiju and our Fallen of Albaz into our Titaniclad. Now, we haven't quite got the OTK here. We've got 2,500 plus 38, so we're sitting at 3,300 damage. So we're sitting at 6,300 damage, meaning even if we'd summoned our Nessie in attack, we would fall 100 short. It's not the end of the world, seeing as on our next turn we do have a fusion deployment, and we still have branded in white in our hand as well. Also, we will get to set Screams of the Branded back to our field during the end phase. So if our opponent does get rid of Albion or Titaniclad, we can always use Screams of the Branded to bring them back to the field. So this time we didn't have the OTK, but we got very close. So, onto our third test stand. A Kaiju, Fallen of Albaz, Judgment, Trade-In, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So, that's actually really nice. We are well set up here. We can actually use Trade-In quite safely because we're not going to need anything else. We have our pitch fodder already with our Judgment of the Branded. We have our Fallen of Albaz. We have our Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So, those 3 cards we would like to keep in our hand, just because they are the OTK right there, and we don't even lose anything with our Fallen of Albaz, because Judgment will set itself back to the field. So we're going to go trade in, just to be greedy and see what we can get. Send off our Dogoran for Godarla, and another Fallen of Albaz, so that's not bad, because we're now set up for next turn, if our opponent is to somehow stop our OTK. So, I'm going to put these 2 off to the side, because they're not really important. Yet again, we have our OTK. We're going to activate our Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. We're going to summon to our field. This time we'll put the Lightning Strike on our field. It really doesn't matter. And we're going to give our opponents the Jizukiru. We'll normal summon our Albaz, and we will send Judgment of the Branded off as cost to fuse away Albaz and Jizukiru. That'll let us go into our Albion. Albion will then banish Jizukiru and Albaz from our grave, and that will give us Titaniclad. And that right there is our OTK yet again, with over 8,000 damage on board, and we've fused away the only monster our opponent has because of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Okay, so, 4th test hand. Opening hand has a Godarla. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, we're halfway to our OTK. Screams, Nibiru, Danger Tsuchinoko. Okay, so that's what we'll open with. And we draw into our Fallen of Albaz, bada bing, bada boom. We will likely have used Nibiru on our opponent's turn. So I'm actually going to show you how to do this with Nibiru rather than Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, seeing as we will have produced Nibiru on our opponent's turn. So at this point we are well set. We have our plays that we need. What we're going to do is we're going to actually go Fallen of Albaz, and we'll send off Screams of the Branded. Fusing Fallen of Albaz and the token away into Albion. Albion will then banish our Fallen of Albaz and the Godarla in our hand into our Titaniclad, and there is our OTK yet again. 5,500 from Albion and Nibiru, and Titaniclad pushing for game with a whopping 3,700. So, there we go. As you can see, yet again, another OTK, this time not relying on Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, but actually utilizing Nibiru and any other monster in your hand. Okay, final test hand. Trade in. Nibiru. Nibiru. Ooh, don't want 2 of them, really. Screams. Screams. Ouch. This is a rough hand so far. Can it be salvaged? Godarla. Potentially. So, obviously, we're going to go Nibiru. Then we're going to activate, at the start of our turn, Trade In, sending Godarla off to draw 2. Super Poly. Oh, this needs to be Fusion Deployment or Albaz. Albaz! Oh! Ooh! Okay, so we've actually got our OTK the same way we had it previously. We're going to use Albaz. We will pitch Screams to send off the token and Fallen of Albaz for our branded dragon. We'll then banish Fallen of Albaz and the Nibiru in hand for our Titaniclad, and that there, ladies and gentlemen, is an OTK. So as you can see, this deck can consistently get to its OTK, what with it running 2 different versions, whether it be the Nibiru, Albaz, and a monster, or it be the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber and Albaz. Either way, works perfectly fine. They wipe your opponent's board out, and then they just fuse away what you're willing to let them have, and run over them for everything they got. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. Make sure you leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss the upcoming lore profiles with Springen's Albaz next week and Pure Tri Brigade the week after. And I'll see you guys at the next video.